Welcome to the part two of this After Talk. I am your host, Andy Law, who played King Lear in this production. If you haven't seen the part one of this After Talk or even the play itself, don't worry, you can finish this video and then go watch the other two. So, hello everybody. Here we have, first of all, Umemiya Sensei, who is the director of this production. And then we have Hairu, who played Goneril. We have Heidi, who played Duke of Cornwall. We have Gail, who played Oswald. We have Forrest Edmund. And then Seiji, who played Servant-2. And then, last but not least, Aki, unfortunately, who played Duke of Albany, cannot attend this part two after talk. So we're going to show her answer to our questions later on. So today we mainly want to express ourselves about our feelings about creating a play without seeing each other in person. So I know a lot of people here in this room have some have never done it. Some have acting experience, but maybe not that familiar with Shakespeare, either Shakespeare or acting on Zoom. So let me start off from Umemiya Sensei. I'm not going to ask you about acting, but as the director here, could you tell us about the concept of this play and why did you decide to make that adaptation?
Okay. So since the spread of COVID-19, we had to move from live production to online, and we've experimented the use of Zoom program and other online meeting systems. And I've seen even outside of WIP, some of the professional companies using Zoom application as means of creating a different dimension within a single story. So for instance, in our previous production of A Midsummer Night's Dream, we tried to use the recorded version of the play to express the world of fairies. And Puck was the only character who could go both worlds, so reality and the world of the online. But for my direction, I wanted to use in a different way, and I wanted to experiment the different approach by using this Zoom program, which is to describe the situation where people are actually isolated from the rest of the world. So for example, Lear meets his two daughters online and the others online, rather than meeting face to face. And it was only Cordelia and Kent who could actually come and see Lear or have the willingness to come to see Lear in person. I wanted to show that kind of isolation of Lear, which might reflect a lot of the people that's been suffering the enormous amount of stress during the time of quarantines. So I was trying to mix the reality with the story of Lear using the latest technology. So that's why I came up with this concept.
Yeah, isolation is a very, very popular theme. I mean, even before COVID, I feel like people who live in the city have gone through isolation one way or another. And then now it's even more tough. And this is like, because this is basically one of the best things in Shakespeare, right? The timelessness. you know, you enjoy reading the word itself, and then when you think about the society and how we feel about it in our lives right now, how can that go with Shakespeare in some way? And I think this is a very good way to express our sentiments right now, and this is totally collective. So we're going to come back to you, director, because we have some snafu and just wanderings from part one people. They were talking about something.
Okay.
That I want to ask you later. But
Sure.
first, we're going to jump to actors. So let's start from Forrest, because I've heard you have experiences in acting and has a lot of insight on Shakespeare, and they actually showed a lot in your performance.
Thank you.
So yeah, what did you find unique about WHOOP, this group?
Well, I would like to sort of start off with what Memiya-sensei said about the theme of this play being isolation. I think that even though this was our theme, I think it showed in the play, but not in the group at all. That was the complete opposite. I've had some experiences of acting in a group, in a physical space, that were the complete opposite. They were isolating because the actors sometimes only thought about themselves, thought about their clout, these kinds of things. WHIP is maybe not necessarily the first, but the greatest community experience I've had with acting. I think it really shows, and I think that that's something special that we have here, this sort of welcoming atmosphere and this ability to really show passion for the project that we're working on. I hope that, it is my belief that this is not just me, and I hope everyone else can kind of agree with me on this.
I just think without a community, there's no drama. There could be no drama. So, I mean, yeah, that is well said. So, another thing, did this remote play, since based on your former knowledge on Shakespeare, did this remote play, playing Edmund in Shakespeare, in King Lear, change your view towards Shakespeare?
Definitely, it definitely did. For one thing, seeing Edmund, I begin to notice a whole lot more of Shakespeare's archetypes and kind of getting a greater insight into that, with my kind of biggest experience before this being Iago, who is similar yet different in a lot of ways. But I think the kind of biggest difference, and this is owing to kind of seeing Memiya-sensei's process, is how kind of removing or cutting the play has, like, how it has changed the meanings of a lot of the sections, a lot of the actual parts of the play dramatically, and how, I would say, how much there was a lot of, how would I put this? There was a lot of intent behind every single choice that we've made along the way. And I think that just having this kind of practical experience is really invaluable. It's definitely changed how I am going to read Shakespeare in the future.
Yeah. I remember when Memiya-sensei saying, making a cut even on one word is like, it's like a stab in the heart. It almost hurts you to cut Shakespeare's original text like that. So I think this is quite an achievement.
Especially with how much we have cut. Reminds me of Edmund's brother, specifically. That was a huge cut.
Mhm. So thank you very much, Forrest. I am surprised by your answer and amazed by your ability to articulate your feelings, as always. So Hailu, who played Gonro, this was your first production in WIP, and as a rookie, what did you enjoy about acting completely on Zoom?
To be honest, like I was very honored to have this opportunity to act as Goneril, because like it's one of the sisters. I didn't expect that actually, because like I was like online for the whole time, and I even had like 9 hours difference, like time difference from everyone,
Right.
kind of. And I was kind of on a trip, and I'm so sorry I couldn't join most people's like rehearsals. I feel sorry about it, but like after I joined the rehearsals and the real production, I really enjoyed it. Like the last time I acted was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I must say I did enjoy working with every one of you who's not here as well. And for like acting the whole time on Zoom, it's like on the one hand, I don't have to memorize all my lines because like I can read from the screen, like most of the time, because like but if I'm like looking aside, I need to memorize those lines. But if I'm not, I am kind of help like using the script on my screen, and that helped a lot. But I think I should be more familiar with my lines in the future production. Definitely, I will work on that. But it did help me to like, because it's my first time in the few years to act again. I'm very looking forward to meeting you guys in person and do a physical production in the future. Thank you.
That's great. That is great. And also, you know, I picked up on your word of working, but it's also playing, right? You had a lot of fun. I can see that.
It makes my spring break very very fruitful, I would say.
Demanding.
Yeah, emotionally fruitful. So let me move on to Gail. I know that you have experiences in acting, but this time you participated through Zoom. I wonder, what do you like about acting on Zoom as Oswald, and what don't you like about it?
First of all, I had some experiences in acting, but not with Shakespeare. So this is my first Shakespearean production or even reading Shakespearean book at all. So that was really new to me. And I had some experiences acting on Zoom before. So this is not my first time acting on Zoom. And so I was quite familiar with the limitation of the Zoom as a platform. But what I like about it is probably very similar to Hailu, that like I was able to still look at my script, and I can I had to focus best on like when to come in, because like Oswald is a character that comes in very swiftly and then left after delivering like one line sometimes. So I think that was very helpful for me to just really focusing on coming at the right time. And I think what I don't like about Zoom in general is not being able to show my body language, because I think acting is like 80% like body language usually when you act on stage. And I think with Oswald as a character, I think he or she kind of could play a lot more through his body language, with being like obedient and being a servant to everyone. And I think with that, with very small lines, I think it limits the range of what the character can show on Zoom. I think that would be one part that I didn't not didn't like, I understand the limitation, but like I would have enjoyed being able to act on stage as well more. But I think being able to do this at this time and being able to participate in this production that was set in Japan is a much greater opportunity for me. So actually, I don't have any complaints about that. So I'm glad to be part of this.
Yeah, I really agree on this. The chance is, it is quite hard to believe that the people you see, characters on screen, that they are present, they're right in front of you, right? And it's like, this is I honestly felt like it's easy to turn the acting mechanical in terms of method acting, because I'm crazy in it, and then not being able to interact in the most humanely natural way. At least we compromised a bit in order to have fun and recreate this play mainly. So yeah, how about you, Seiji? What do you think? What is there anything you agree with or you disagree with?
No, I'm just very privileged, very blessed. Like being part of this production. To be honest, I felt like I felt like I wasn't really the right part. Like I wasn't the right the right one to be called for this role. But thankfully everyone was trying to help me, Nakisa and Yuman, Andy, and Sensei, Yumi Sensei. Like everyone was just really supportive and encouraging, and it was very fun to work with all of you. So yeah, I appreciate it. And yeah, it was really fun. It was a very fun production.
Yeah. I mean, you do have a very unique intonation, unique delivery of lines. As I've never seen a servant that has a servant who has his own way of saying things. This servant has a character in him, and that's the vibe I got from you, which is great. You made it your own, and that's one of the things you gotta do, playing a character. Let me move on to Hailey, who also is the first time, and you played a Duke of Cornwall. Did you find any difficulty in acting remotely?
First of all, it was like my first time to actually be acting, so I don't know how it's supposed to go, or like I wasn't exactly sure how I would work out in this, but well, I think it was a little more difficult online than actually meeting people in person because of not exactly lack of communication, but we had a shorter time meeting each other, so it was maybe a bit hard to get the feeling of the whole play. But I really enjoyed this being part of this group, and although I was like nervous and such at first, but everyone helped me out, and I was able to understand the role I'm playing, and I think I was able to work it out quite well.
Yeah, I wonder, because Cornwall is a male character. He is somebody's husband. Have you played a male character before?
No.
Uh-huh. How's that working for you?
Was felt a little, not weird is like the wrong word, but Cornwall is not just a male character, but also a bit like aggressive. So that was a bit hard for me to go strong. So yeah, it was a bit difficult in that way.
Yeah, I think that was a great comment, because I still remember the time when we were doing a rehearsal and you seemed rather soft in delivery, and I had to say like stronger, stronger, because that's what we do in our company. We don't switch genders, even though male characters can be played by females, but we don't treat that character as a female role. So we always challenge how people correspond to the given circumstance. And to back up that kind of difficulty, we try to stay positive as a group and try to be supportive in every respect. And I'm extremely glad to hear that some new members actually have the experience of feeling that kind of atmosphere within this group. And yeah, I do have a question for Andy, and I don't know if it's going to be a quick one, but you've acted both literally online and face-to-face, and I've directed you in the room, and I am sure you had a lot of fun interacting physically with other characters. And I also had to work with you about the delivery and how to move and how to make a posture and how to sound and everything. So what was the biggest difference between your experience of acting with your fellow actors and acting with the people within the screen?
Well, yeah, like I said, even though, well, there's no denying that we are not interacting in the most humanely natural way, right? Like I said, true that this technology is helping a machine to bring out the aliveness. You know, we can see a spontaneous human being on the screen, and that's good. That's amazing. And I'm familiar with that feeling because I've done it more than once. It's like, you know, it's, and I always challenge myself to be the character, no matter how big the gap between me and Lear is. He's like 80-year-old, and I'm just in my early 20s, and I have to convince myself and convince everybody I am Lear. And this is challenging but also fun to do, and I dare myself to try doing it. And for when I got that character and there's a Zoom, I'm acting in front of a computer, it's like you're having a life-changing fight with your family members on a video call, you know. But at the same time, there was a force within me to receive as much as possible, because like Gail said, 80% body language. It's true. Body language is part of the receiving and giving in communication. Just like right now, I'm moving my hands, but my hip is also moving. So yeah, so everything has to be simplified. So my priority is to be the character. Even in the venue, I am Lear, and I feel everything coming out of the screen making me feel, knowing that my relationships with each person affiliated, and that's the best I can do. Even though I would think to myself, I can always do better. Yeah. So last but not least, in our dear love, another female actress who played a male character, Albany, Aki, who is unfortunately not here today, but I would like to show you her answers and opinions, and just she has something to say, so let's see it.
I would say it's a new way to create a play, which is very suitable for this era of pandemics, because obviously you can avoid infection if you take part in the production remotely instead of meeting up with other members in person. But apart from that, I found some advantages of online production of a play. By creating a play remotely, the schedule for the production can be more flexible, I think. If you take part in the production from home, you can join online meetings at any time of the day. So you can do that early in the morning or late at night, for example. You don't have to worry about catching the last train of the day or what time university buildings close. And another good thing about creating a play remotely is that it's nice for members living far away from the university. Since you can take part in the production from home, you can save the time spent on travel to the campus. Also, you can participate from anywhere in the world. That allows a wide range of members to join the production. Thank you.
Wow, it is a lifestyle. Well, let me just come back to Umemiya Sensei, because everybody had the same question, and I feel like I have to do it for them and for myself. So the first part of the talk, I heard they were wondering about the choice of the immersive background. Can you just talk me through the choice of that background? Where comes that idea?
Well, I suppose you know me well enough that I make those visual choices without having any distinct ideas. So that's why I was rather flexible about people's costumes, color schemes, and how I want them to sit in front of the screen. So I don't really consider too much about that kind of details, because especially the visual impressions or some of the meaning that you want to attach to those images would not 100% transfer to the audience. So I would rather pay more attention to the delivery of the language or the enunciation of each word. But obviously I had some idea on that specific image, which was to signify the psychological movement of Lear. So it's the image which we would use in the psychological test. So I was using that as a hint to imply that most of the interaction between Lear and the pool is happening inside Lear's head.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's it is visually grasping that background. Even it's really like inside Lear's head, and there's a fool moving around, and there's in this absolute dark and abstract background that I think everybody would be intrigued and like, what is that? And I think, yeah, you gave a good answer.
Yeah, so that image is from a test, and the impression that would received by the person would depend on who they are. So for someone it looks different, and the others might interpret it in a different image, entirely different image. So that's probably the reason for implementing those images for the psychological tests. And I want to give some kind of idea on the scene, because we never know whether the fool is existing in reality or not, especially with this version, because we've cut all of the interaction between the fool and the other characters. So yeah, that's the main cause for me to choose that specific image for this production.
Well, I do hope to talk more with every individual about your emotional journey throughout the production. There must be a lot deep down that you haven't gotten the chance to express it. But since we have limited time, and I hope that you could make use of this chance, and you know, even using a pen and paper, just try to recall your emotional journey during the whole thing, because it was something, you know. So I think that's the end of this after talk, and I do hope to see you soon in the next production, or even sooner, who knows. Oh, you say please wait to the audience. We are told to do this. We are told to do this.